Now what I have been doing is I've been taking these long sticks and I've just been putting, the fire over the center portion of it and burning them in half and then putting them back on the fire again. Saves calories, energy that way. But in the spirit of playing with the knife, having fun with the knife, we're going to take this laser strike and just do some chopping with it, have some fun. Of course, it would help better if I didn't choose the knot area to try and chop through. One thing I am going to do is put a lanyard on this. Love this knife setup that I have. You may have already seen the videos posted on how to make it. You may not, I don't know, it depends on when I have them all filmed actually. A lot of people have been asking for this for a long time. But I don't know whether I'm going to roll out those videos first or this video. I don't know. Now, the reason I'm putting a lanyard on it is because then I can choke back a little bit and not go flying out of my hand for chopping purposes. I typically don't chop with a knife, but especially a knife this size. But it can be done. Oh, see, I broke one of my rules. One of my rules is that when you're done with something, you put it away. And my kids, unfortunately, I can't get them to do that at home. But especially out here, because what I find is it just helps be more organized. Your gear doesn't start to get spread everywhere. That is a Crockett rule. Basically what I'm doing too is I'm breaking these down to a little more manageable pieces for the fire. Again, like I said, I'll normally just burn through them. That's an easy way. Low calorie, low energy. Doesn't use your knife blade. You can save it for other tasks you need a nice sharp blade for. But again, we're testing. We're testing. Having fun. It is amazing the pattern on this stick. It almost looks like spiders. Very interesting. Let me see if I can't get a picture of it. know, definitely not the best chopper, but a knife this size, I don't expect it to be. A lot of people have asked so far about the spear point and what I think about that. And to be honest with you, with the use that I've had so far with it, I haven't noticed it. The one benefit I could really see, which I think this knife is, you know, a little more suited and designed for, is, you know, drilling a hole to start a bow drill. Where that tip is in relation to the knife, the way it's set up, I think it's ideal for that. But as far as it being better than a drop point or being worse than a drop point, at this point, that's a lot of points. At this point, I really haven't noticed a difference. A lot of this, what I'm doing, is just really trying to work the hell out of that edge. Let's see how it holds up. Now, it already had some rolls in it from trying to use on that fire still. So I know that was caused from that. In fact, I can feel it pretty good right there. Try to work its tip a little bit. Oh man, I love knife testing like this, guys. It's a lot of fun. When I say guys, I know there's a few gals out there too. I mean that collectively. So, what I was trying to really do there is test the tip. Or not necessarily the tip, the end portion of the blade, because that wasn't affected from the fire still. I mean, it's not as sharp as it was, but that's still pretty sharp. I'm happy with that. I have an Esee 4. I need to do a review on that. I have yet to do that. I've owned that knife for years. Sweet knife. And these Izula 2, and they have really good edge retention. So this one, so far, is shaping up to be kind of the same. Again, different down here. That's why I don't like striking ferrocerium rods with the blade. I don't like that at all. There is that way around it. You know, like I said, a lot of guys will do that spine. And if that's how if I was going to use this knife for that and always use it with the ferrocerium rod and not use the striker, I would definitely do that. I would do that to any blade. I cannot tell you guys how lucky I feel that I have a test bed like this to come out here and play with this stuff. And honestly, if I wasn't testing gear, I'd be up here anyway. Try to do this as safe as I can. Those aren't good hits. because there's a lot of movement on the stick, so not quite as effective as they could be. Going down, I'm not so worried about it because I've got plenty of control. I've got plenty of space between the two, and if I slip, I'm slipping this way. Coming up this way, makes me a little nervous, but not too bad. Try to really remind myself, though, that it's not if, but it's when and how bad I cut myself. So try to be careful. Well, it certainly does the job. Like I said, physics in its size, it's not the best suited that way. I don't expect it to be. But again, it's more edge testing than anything. I can tell a definite difference between this area and this area. That's not bad up here. It's about what I expect from carbon steel. What I was saying is, so far I'm happy with the blade. The size is 5 inches. That's my ideal size for a knife. I really like that. In fact, what I'm finding, if I'm not repeating myself too much here, is between the 4 and 6 inch range, and 5 being that nice little sweet spot. So I really like that. Like the micarta handles. They've got good ergos on them. I like that. The jimping on top is pretty much, if you've ever seen the jimping or felt the jimping on a Esee blade before, it's exactly the same. It's not overbearing, but it's there and it's functional enough. So that's just kind of some early thoughts. Like I said, I'll roll a review out on this eventually, a formal review. It's well put together. The inside of it, as far as the fire stuff, that doesn't impress me much, but anyway, that's just some quick infield thoughts of this blade. I think I'm going to do some more chopping. Now we're just going to take this bad boy and beat on it and just baton it through this piece of wood. Yeah, there's my baton. I need to get a new one. Big thicker one there. Okay. Honestly, I prefer this way. If I'm going to break something like this, if I have to chop through something like this, this to me is easier than chopping with a blade this size. This does get awkward trying to keep this in view of the camera. That's where having people out to help you film helps tremendously. that's all she wrote. There it is. Now again, guys, I'm doing this on purpose. I'm trying to get it in the snow, wanting to expose it as much as I can out here. Normally I wouldn't do that with a knife. What I would do it with it is put it back in its sheath. Now you can see all this wood right here. That has all been chopped by this blade. So I ended up batoning actually these two pieces right here, and I just got this little piece off. I want to see how we can get some nice shavings off of there that don't work for me tonight. But again, edge retention, testing the blade edge. Again, this is the area that it's actually been rolled a little bit. I hope the GoPro is giving you details enough, and I know the audio is not as good, but it's really a lot easier for me to do this than use the main camera right now. You can see it's still, it's still coming off pretty good. Let's get some kind of bigger ones here. Kind of see what it's peeling off. So again, definite difference between the top of the blade and this portion of the blade that was used on the Esee rod. Big difference. This still works. You can see it's still peeling them off, but I can tell a big difference on this side. And I was doing some fair amount of chopping. There were times when I tried to focus on that area to beat it. In fact, that's all the end of it.
Still working out pretty good. Well, there you have it. Have fun playing around with this up here in the winter backpacking trip. Yeah, it's working, but again, there's a difference. There is a difference.
I returned home yesterday from the winter backpacking trip that you just watched. So I haven't done anything with this knife other than take the scales off of it. And I just wanted to provide some feedback. You know, I stuck it in the snow a lot. I really beat it. And I just wanted to see how it held up, especially it being 1095 carbon steel. So we know it's gonna be a little more prone to rust than stainless. And there is some rust on the edge there that isn't coated. But honestly, it's so minute, I don't think the camera is really gonna pick it up. And I'm not worried about it at all because sharpening is gonna take that rust right out of there. So not an issue to me, not an issue to me at all. And I wasn't trying to be careful with it. I mean, I was purposely sticking it in the snow, leaving it in the snow and not back in its sheath, which I would not advise. And that's kind of the fun about testing this stuff though. Second thing I wanted to talk about briefly was this magnesium. A better technique that I found, you know, just at home, instead of trying to scrape it like this or trying to carve it off. And granted, I'm in a little bit better controlled environment, but is to take it like this and pull back. And that will give you a lot better shavings. You can kind of see them right there. Now, having said that, I still don't like, and I'm not a fan thus far, of this fire steel here, and especially striking that with the edge of your blade. It will work, but it's a little bit hard because this just isn't that big. And to get some good sparks, you've got to put a lot of pressure on it, which now you're holding it right here. There's just not a lot to hold on to. So, not my favorite thing about the knife, but I don't know. Maybe we'll play around with it more. Right now, I'm not terribly impressed with it. And in relation to that, the last thing I wanted to talk about is the blade edge itself. I would not recommend using a fire steel with the edge of your knife or with the sharp edge of your knife. What I would recommend is always use the spine of your knife when you can. This, because of the coating, you're not able to. What a lot of guys will do is they'll actually strip this coating, just a little section on the back of their blade, the spine, so that they can use that with the fire steel instead of the blade edge. Why that is because this really dulls the blade. You can kind of see it right here already. You can see where the edge has rolled. And if you listen as I run my thumbnail across it, you can hear the little burr that has created. So that's a big reason why I don't recommend or like using the knife edge for that. Now, if it's a life-death situation, okay, it might be different, but you know. And the edge retention is pretty good. Again, this right here is a significant difference, much duller than it is in the areas where I did not use the fire steel. So just wanted to give that feedback a day later when I really haven't done anything with the knife to try and prevent any rust or anything like that. So I thought that would be kind of an interesting follow-up to that use that I took out and had fun with in the winter backpacking trip. Thanks much, guys, and we'll see you later.